That's the scene suddenly at the bottom of the garden, kind of smoky. That's not what you want to see. You want to see blazing sun, don't you? Not that sort of thing. And that had come after this in the distance.
Some people already done it.
No, there's no houses there.
And then I think a couple of days, 2 or 3 days of that, and then this sort of thing going on as well. Well, it's with mixed feelings. Oh, where have I gone now? I keep coming on. Right, okay, maybe I don't know what's happening with this tech this morning, but I keep moving the mouse and then disappearing from the screen. That should be it now. Anyway, I was just about to say that's not the sort of thing you ideally want to see. When there have been fires, it's kind of reassuring, isn't it, to see that that sort of tech is available, but not what you're expecting when you go down to the Pedrógão to enjoy life in central Portugal. Let's find out more about how it's been for them. Henry and Nina joining us live now. Hola, bon dia.
Good morning, Carl.
You too.
Bon dia.
Hi there.
Bon dia.
See you both. Sorry for a slightly rocky start on this show, but I think we got the gist of it there. The applause aren't obviously for that horrible situation that you've been facing there. The applause are parabéns, welcome to Portugal. But what a way to start your time here. How's it been for you?
Oh, it's been great. You know, I guess it is part of life in Portugal, and we've been coming here for 5 years on and off, as you know. And we came to Pedrógão in 2020, so not long after what happened in 2017. So we were kind of fully aware of the danger of the area.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it's we've kind of taken it in our stride. It's part of life. We were as prepared as we can be, weren't we? Spoke to the neighbours and kind of followed their lead. So other than that, it's been great.
Good, yeah, good on you. Yes. What did the neighbours say? I mean, they had a bit more experience with it, so you were following their lead. What sort of things were they suggesting?
Just to stay put, really, because they were saying lots of them have been here. There's not many people that live in our area still because people are not coming back yet. But the people that are have been here for a long time, and we're here in 2017 when things happened, and they just said stay where you are because people got trapped in their cars, and that's why there was lots of casualties in 2017. So you need to stay to dampen down the ash as it lands, because that's what can catch and start other little small fires that spread. So we just all got together to just dampen down our land, because we haven't really got enough hose, long enough hoses for our garden, and the lady behind us is not in the country at the moment, so there's lots of people that have got second homes, I think, here.
Right. Yes.
Not necessarily managing their garden, so it's not a huge piece of land that she's got, it's just a garden, but it's entirely overgrown, so we had to
back onto our house.
Yeah. So and those are the things that are causing the problems, they're saying, kind of locally, because I thought the fire was about 3 miles away, but I think it was closer than that. But we were getting ash almost in the first kind of 15, 20 minutes of it going up.
Nice.
So
Dropping onto
it being able to travel that far and obviously being quite hot and flammable. So we were getting a lot of eucalyptus leaves, charred eucalyptus leaves just landing in the garden. So I suppose if it's damp, it's not able to catch. So that's some things that you just probably wouldn't really think about,
Right.
especially coming from the UK, because they can't even cope with leaves on the train line, can they? So you know,
Iron leaves landing in the garden.
it's just
It
kind of
sounds like, yeah, it sounds like
immediately-
you're. It sounds like you might be glad to be out of the UK. I don't know, just reading between the lines there. But and I think
yeah.
out of the frying pan into the fire, Henry, you messaged to me. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
With your journey
Yeah.
so far, and you have had some good times in amongst that drama, haven't you? You sent beautiful
Absolutely.
pictures of the Fraga. Is it Fraga de São Simão, the lovely river beach not far from you? That's a
Yes.
beautiful place.
Yeah, in the big gorge there.
Yeah, love that
very
place.
nice there. We've kind of sampled a lot of the river beaches that we didn't really get a chance to see when we were on holiday. So we've had
Yeah.
obviously a chance to explore the area.
Yeah,
Yes.
most of our holidays have been interspersed with seeing where we might want to settle. So it's been very
Yeah.
much kind of go, go, go.
Yeah,
every
looking at
time. So
houses
it's been
and
really nice. To...
yeah. So this is
Yes.
we've been here a month now. So yeah, it's been great.
Wow, time flies. You've been here a month.
Not
My
having
goodness. Yeah, that's flown
yeah,
by. Right.
yeah, just end of July we got here.
Yeah.
But we've had wasps' nest, wild boar, near attacks.
Wait, tell us about
Enormous
that.
bugs. Well, yeah, I might be being a bit dramatic. It wasn't an attack,
Right,
but it
good.
came very close to us when we were sat in our garden from the pitch black. It just kind of appeared with its
Yeah.
snorting. So we quickly
No,
went inside.
I can sympathise with that, really, because people gave me a hard time about them. And I said, yeah, I came close to a tussle with a wild boar. I said, yeah, whatever, and I could hear it. I don't know how far away it was. And you've met my dogs. You met Jimmy, not his full name. You've met Jimmy and Peggy, and I was out walking in the valley with him at a different place that we lived at, and I could hear this commotion. It sounded like wild boar fighting, and I'm sure they were making their way closer to me. And Jimmy and I looked at each other, like, "Run!" But Peggy, the little terrier, she wanted to go and have a bit of a bust up with wild boar. I had to sort of drag her away.
Yeah.
We ran home. But the adrenaline definitely starts pumping, doesn't it, when you can hear those bad boys nearby?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We kind of, because how we're like not finished with our house at all, well, nowhere near, but it's just like the garden's not fenced off at all, and it backs onto kind of some land and some forest. So we have subsequently found out that because I was like, oh, what are all these little tracks going through the garden, thinking it was just kind of where people have maybe walked and flattened the grass. But it turns out there is wild boar coming from the forest through our garden, having a nice little route around to see what's in there, and then up into the populated area, obviously looking for free food from the bins and what if they can get into people's gardens and stuff. So but this woman was just like, yeah, you know, I've been out in the morning when it's been quite light with my dog, and they've been in the street.
Really? My goodness. Okay. If only they ate eucalyptus. Maybe they do eat eucalyptus. Do we need to? You need a genetically modified wild boar that eats eucalyptus. That might be a bit of a solution. Henry, did you say bugs as well? Because I remember being with you here in Portugal talking about the hairy Mary.
Yeah, they're nothing.
No,
Really?
we came back to the house one day, and what we thought was a cockroach was upside down and dead in the lounge. And then we spoke to our builder, and he said we don't get cockroaches out here.
It's just a beetle.
So we flipped it. He flipped it over. I didn't touch it, but yeah, it's about 3 inches long, and it's some sort of unidentified beetle. But since then, we've had 3 more. They seem attracted to our house.
They just seem to like to land on the house. They're kind of about palm size. They look a bit like a scarab beetle, but obviously flying around. So they're interesting.
Yeah. So we've
Have you tried it deep fried? Maybe deep fried. It sounds like there might be some meat on something that big.
Yeah, I think
I've started a little collection. Anything that I can find that's dead, I'm just collecting them to kind of see
throw
what
at
they
the
are.
wild boar. Jackie, just quickly, what's teabagging, Carl? Should I not? No, you should. No, I think it's best. Don't search it because you'll never get that off your search history. And Joao Ernesto, off for a week holiday adventure in the Pyrenees. Very good. I think it's a Pyrenees joke, isn't there? The dad joke about Pyrenees. Forecast up in the months looks questionable later this week. Oh, okay. If we catch the show, it'll be hit or miss, I'm afraid. Well, you have a beautiful time. Bon voyage, obviously, if you're going to the Pyrenees. And went to Ukrainian Independence Day celebration yesterday. Have a Ukrainian sister-in-law, bands, but somber situation. P.S. Head gave me a signed copy of Noema Novaj's Ate Asgerash Teinreiras. Not sure what you mean there. Is that a Portuguese artist we should know about? Yeah, but definitely, of course, situations around the world put our situations in perspective. But you, Henry and Nina, I think, fair to say, quite a dramatic time and being documented on your new YouTube channel, The Queen and the Convict. Should we let people figure out why it's called that if they go and subscribe? Is there an explanation on your YouTube channel about the fascinating name of your YouTube?
It's just a cool sounding name.
Obviously, I'm related to royalty.
Yes. Okay. So you're the Queen, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Right. So looking forward then, what are the plans? What help do you need? What guidance, if any, do you need from the Gumper community? Because there's always the bits you don't figure on. There's lots to contend with, isn't there, when you make your new life in Portugal? Any surprises?
It's been quite interesting.
Yeah,
it's been
steep learning curve.
Interesting, but it's part of our life. Is always, I said, I'm probably going to change our name to the Chaos Adventures because that is our life. It's just quite chaotic. But
yes,
yeah. Well, it was quite sobering, really, to think that we've thrown ourselves into this life that we've wanted for so long. We still don't speak hardly anything of the language, and there's some big situations like this where you've got to kind of try and work out what you're supposed to be doing, whilst you've still got a language barrier as well. So that was kind of, I just thought, oh wow, that's quite a lot to cope with. But we've been fine with hand gestures and kind of using our phones. But if you don't, if fires take out, like they have been elsewhere in the country, taking out electricity, and you can't charge your phone and stuff like that, and you aren't speaking the language, and how do you cope? Because it is just something else. But I mean, we're really fortunate because there's because it's happened here before and it originated in 2017.
True.
There are fire breaks around Pedrógão. There's loads of things in place. I've never seen so many fire trucks and people drafted in.
We live next to the water treatment plant. It's just behind our house. So that's all the bomberos were coming up to refill. All the ones that couldn't connect to refill their water tanks. So we saw a pretty front row seat here, didn't we?
Yeah, but I mean, it does make you think. We've got some people that we have connected with where the fire actually was, they've completely lost their home. They lived there with their children. They went out for the day and they came back to nothing. And I just think, oh my, it is really just so tragic for people. And then the businesses that people have and the land that's been taken away and how many decades that's going to take to restore. There's so many different layers, isn't there, of kind of what impact this has to a country.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. Yes.
And
the news agenda moves on. I keep saying this. The news agenda moves on. Meanwhile, people are left, aren't they, with this level of devastation? Because although you're right, Adrian, in a sense, and it puts our problems in perspective, and we can keep sort of doing that, can't we? Say, well, there are people worse off. But if your house has been destroyed by the fires, and everyone else seems to be moving on, and you're left out there in the middle of nowhere in the countryside, that must be a pretty awful feeling. And I think that's probably happening to quite a few people now, isn't it? And what makes that worse, I think, is that we've been here before, haven't we? It's not like this is a surprise. This is obviously it's a shock, but it's in a way it's terrible to have this repetition of we thought we'd moved on from this. We thought it couldn't be this bad for people, and clearly this is definitely the worst since 2017. And I saw in a very interesting Facebook post about that this idea of the casualties are quite low. I'm not sure how much loss of life there's been. I think a few people have been killed in this last couple of weeks, and that's being sort of pitched as like, oh, it's not as bad as it was. But that doesn't take into account the devastation of people's lived lives, doesn't it? And their homes and
the stress of that. How do they know that is just the loss of life and the impact of that is just you know, from
Direct.
people that have actually directly died in a fire. There's
Yes.
also the stress implications of losing your house and the ongoing things from that impact and kind of grow over the years as well. So I just think that yeah, it goes far beyond just
What
the
we-
immediacy of
What we
Yeah.
have found
the
though is
action.
that other people, like the neighbours and the community, obviously really come together.
Yeah.
So obviously we were being advised by our neighbours what to do, but they also bought us round a bag
Numerous
of passion
vegetables.
fruit, bag of tomatoes, and a huge watermelon, just in case we didn't
As a
have any
tradition.
food, we couldn't get to the
Yes.
shop. Yeah, so and
Yeah.
that's not the first time
Yeah.
we bought stuff around, but especially that day.
Yes.
And we've seen in all the Telegram groups people talking about people that have lost their homes and coming together and helping them. So community obviously
Yeah.
shines through with stuff like this, isn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, we've experienced people in the UK that they've lost their businesses over the past year or so, some to fire, some to other things, and people just don't pull together the way that they do here in our
That's interesting.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
it's
I'm hoping
very
that spirit can be galvanized for country folk, rural folk. I mean, that to me, that's in many ways the greatest thing about this country is that sense of community in the countryside, and it's a very precious thing. And it's a shame that it takes a tragedy for that to be evident. When in this great asset of Portugal, of central Portugal, and the convivio, this whole thing about what I was attracted to, I think, when I first came to Portugal, is an absolute treasure. And I think what we can learn from these last few years is it can't be left to the government alone. The government might assist and facilitate and collaborate, but people need to do this for themselves now. That's a clear message, I would have thought. And I did see a community that had bought their own fire truck. We can keep banging on and asking the government to help, but it feels like those days are sort of diminishing, doesn't it, or dissolving. That sort of that part of the social contract is diminishing all over the world, and we could possibly build on that incredible central Portugal conviviality and community and how people look after each other, and really I don't know, showcase that treasure that's there that you were attracted to, presumably.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Bombardos were obviously great, and they kind of the crossover between that, because it's mainly volunteers around here.
Yeah.
But obviously it's centrally run as well. There's that kind of crossover between those two things within that, I think, isn't there? And we took some water down yesterday, and then I recognised there was a lady in there that took the water, and I recognised her from one of the shops. So she works in one of the shops locally. So it's just quite nice seeing all those faces we recognise, but they're all actually, they come together and help out when they're needed.
I think you're right in the sense of with the way that governments have gone over the decades. Having worked in government, if you don't allow people to build their own resilience and build their own community, which should be at the heart of everything, fair enough, government should be able to be there for some guidance, but it doesn't always work in a small local situation because they don't know, they're in an office somewhere, they don't really understand the nuances of different areas. So it should be very much about empowering communities to be able to do what they want, but unfortunately the world over everything's becoming centralized, isn't it? And I think that we're seeing the impact of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we have to centralize locally, if that's not a contradiction in terms, but that's what it's looking like to me, anyway. And the potential's there in Portugal. That's the other thing. The three layers of government. You've got the sort of presidential level and the governmental level at central, but you've also got the cameras. So this is 4 levels actually. The cameras and the freguesias. The most important one, I think, is that local front line, and those elections are coming up soon as well. So I imagine there'll be pressure on those politicians to respond to this sort of situation. Sadly, there aren't many voters, are there, out in the sticks either? That's the other thing. Government politicians like cities, don't they? They're not too fussed about people in the countryside. We're gonna have to look after ourselves out there, folks. Henry and Nina, great to chat to you. I hope this will become a regular thing. People should check out your channel. I will add it to our favourites.
Sorry, just quickly, our channel is sort of following our renovation that we're doing on our house. So we're quite new to the YouTube, so bear with us, but I'm sure they'll get better.
Absolutely not YouTube. I mean, if we get some interaction, we may, and people ask questions and stuff, we may be able to kind of build some videos around that in terms of content, but we're mainly aiming at our friends and family so they can see what we're up to. But yeah.
Well, you never know with what happens with the YouTube channel. I'm sure it'll take on a life of its own. You, me, and James is about to join us. The old guy in Europe. He's got a fantastic YouTube channel as well, and he publishes a video every Friday. He's quite the example of a consistent publishing, which is what I think it takes to have slowly building. Sorry, that's not a lecture, but a little bit.
Thank you for your advice, Carl.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. And I hope to see you on this screen again soon. And sorry your arrival here hasn't been less stressful than this. It's a baptism of fire, literally, isn't it, for you? And in that strange way that we were talking about, you have galvanized and connected with your community locally because of this tragedy, and hopefully that's going to be a good start and the better days are ahead from that point of view. So lots of love to you both, and all the best to you in your life here in Portugal. All right, all the best.
Thank you.
All right, there they go. Henry and Nina there. The YouTube channel for them on the screen now. Please subscribe to that, and then you can see what they're doing. I'm going to play his pick musically. I think James is enjoying the fact that we play music now. We'll play that at the end. He's got his walk-on music first of all, which we'll play, and we'll play his Kinks track. There's Kinks, there's tea bags, there's twisting of melons this morning. We've got it all here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Let's play his intro music and hear him on the other side, or see him on the other side of this.